Still snowing. After the disappointing sharp-tailed grouse blind up at Glacial Ridge, as you saw in the last episode, I decided I'm going to head south and I need to find a greater white-fronted goose. Well, the snow kept snowing and I did find these beautiful Sandhill Cranes, and look at them. They're going to do their courtship display. Here they're doing their stylized ground stab display where they kind of jab their bill towards the ground. And then the male, the bigger one in the back, he's going to do a run flap display here coming up. Where he just kind of runs, flaps his wings. There he goes. And check it out here. He's going to do the curtsy where he kind of spreads his wings right there and bows down. Oh, and here, watch, he's going to pluck a piece of grass and throw it up in the air. That's called the object toss. Let's watch this slow motion replay of that amazing courtship display. There are like 19 different displays in my little guide I have about Sandhill Crane courtship. That was awesome. It's been on my hit list for a long time, getting video of Sandhill Cranes doing their little courtship dance. Wasn't maybe a prime example. Maybe he's not quite the dancer he thought he was, but got it. It was hard to focus because the snow was falling and there was heat coming out of my car, but I couldn't get out of my car. Just didn't want to spook him. Now I got Lapland Longspurs, and some of the males are approaching breeding plumage, which would be a cool photo, but they're super spooky. Also had a horned lark getting nesting material. Yeah, they nest in these ag fields early spring, April. Doesn't look like spring, but the horned larks say it is nesting time. There they go again. There's another flock, mixed flock, longspurs and horned larks. Frustrating. There's these male Lapland Longspurs that are near breeding plumage. They're on their way to the tundra, and some of the males have the black bib and are getting the chestnut. Boy, it'd be a nice photo against this white snowy backdrop. They're very spooky, and then the flock flies up and then they land in the field and they instantly disappear into the landscape. Also had fun with a gray ghost, the male northern harrier. I'm not sure if I like that nickname, but they're back, just back, and they had one guy, he was hunting this ditch up and down this road, and so I would race up, get ahead of him, turn off on a side road, roll down my window and be ready. But they are deceptively fast. Even it looks like they're floating on the wind, but they could make a half mile in no time. And yeah, got some cool slow motion video, but the photos, my camera just wouldn't focus. So, and then I think these harriers are so smart. He eventually caught on to what I was doing and would switch over to the other side of the road when he saw me pull over. So yeah, fun but frustrating. Is that a thing? Frustrating fun? Yeah, let's go have some more frustrating fun. having a picnic. Twin Valley, Minnesota in the snow, 33 degrees. I bought something at the grocery store called the Daily Special Egg Bake. So this could be a big hit or a big miss. Whoa. Okay, well there's a lot of it. So I'm gonna dig in. That's a fruit cup. Oh yeah, not bad. It's got gravy. Bridget, I'll get back on my eating well when I get home. Not bad. I bought a chicken breast to, well, just in case the egg bake wasn't very good. I mixed that in. But disturbingly, I had one of those cheap plastic forks they gave me, and I bit off part of the tine accidentally, and I couldn't find it, and I don't think I swallowed it. I don't know though. Okay, we're gonna continue on. My goal, I want to see a greater white-fronted goose. I'm not going home until I see a greater white-fronted goose. Okay? All right, well then we better keep going. Get out to the, heading south, maybe more to the prairies. Ole's nursery. Where's Sven? I bet he didn't lift a hand to help Ole. I am in the Prairie-Chicken capital of Minnesota, Rothsay. And I've seen, I think, 3 prairie chickens on this entire trip so far. But I've heard a few others. But I'll go through Rothsay area and see if I can find some more. Still snowing. Robin scolding me. I came all the way south here to North Ottawa. So I gotta find myself a greater white-fronted goose. And if I can't find one here, or any goose, something's wrong with me. They could have already pushed through in mid-March when we had that warm spell. I see some pintails. Short-eared owl. Don't see a short-eared owl in the daytime very often. Oh, he just landed on a wooden post, but took off instantly. Just what I didn't want to do. Get stuck in this muck. Whew. That was a close one. I'm like uber careful about going down roads that are minimum maintenance. Well, I guess the one I was on was minimum maintenance, but this is like, it's so minimum maintenance they didn't even bother to put a sign. Well, the Chrysler Pacifica did it. Woo -woo. And here are my tracks. Yeah, what saved me was just trying to get the tires onto the harder shoulder that's still mostly frozen. Sorry, Grant County road crew. Oh crap. thousands of geese over there, way over there. How do I get over there? All right, I'm gonna try. I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000? Sometimes you gotta take a risk. You can hear some white-fronted geese half-mile away, so I'm walking up to the berm down this dead-end road. I need some exercise too. I've been sitting in that car too long. Well, I guess at the best, I could come over that little rise on the berm and 10,000 white-fronted geese right in front of me. Worst case scenario, I see nothing, but I have a good walk. I guess it's win, small w, small I, small n, or win. Capital W, capital I, capital N. We'll see. Another win on top of that would be if that short-eared owl floated by me. I botched that one. After walking that 3/4 mile, I did get to the white-fronted geese. I would say about 97% were white-fronted geese, but there were some snow geese mixed in. Decent flock got up and circled around and then promptly landed again, but at least 70-80% of them just kept sitting on the ice. So I still think there was like 3,000 to 5,000. So I took a bunch of photos, and then when I got home, I blew them up and started circling them by tens. Yeah. And that's tedious. But here you can see I got to 1,063 in one photo. And I don't know. I just kind of extrapolated. And I came up with a total of, well, 3,000 to 5,000. I don't know. I kind of gave up. But yeah, a lot. The short-eared owl, he was headed right for me. I plopped down to get behind these grasses, but I think it was a little late. There he is. Pheasant. Okay, that gave me a heart attack. 2 hen pheasants. That's why I don't like pheasant hunting. I went pheasant hunting once, and I hated it because it scares me. If I had a dog who could hunt, I only have cats. Did flush some of the greater white-fronted geese, but got to see the huge flock just sitting on the ice. Well, I walked about, what is it, 3/4 mile in here. Mallards had some good stuff. Short-eared owl, the pheasants, always nice to just leave them as they are. And they're still just sitting there over my shoulder here. I'm sitting here in the grass making my hotel reservation. And I heard some rustling on the shore. I saw a head pop out of the water. I thought, oh, it's a muskrat. I'm like, wait, no, that's a beaver. I gotta get some shots. I'm like, wait, no. He did some spy hopping and it was an otter. And way down here, and I guess you'd call this central Minnesota. But you know, it just goes to show you, you build it and they will come. You know, if they have habitat, they'll be here. And this was a flood mitigation project. And they just flooded these sections of land, and it was strictly for, not for wildlife, strictly for flood control and water for the county, and it's turned into one of the best birding spots in Minnesota. A huge swan and goose stopover. Oh. It was the short-eared owl again, or maybe another one, who knows, but my third sighting. Didn't get on them once again. I think of them as April and November birds in northern Minnesota. Some might overwinter in the southern half of the state, and some may nest up in northwest Minnesota. Kind of float low over the landscape looking for voles. As usual, I want to share some of my favorite photos from this second 24-hour period. Short-eared owl definitely taking the cake. This one on his state game refuge sign. These are highly cropped, but hey, I don't have that many short-eared owl photos. That one shows the top side of the owl, which is pretty cool. This is probably my favorite from the trip. Kind of a bird in the landscape. You can see the geese down below and the short-eared owl soaring above. This one shows the undersides of the wings and those amazing yellow eyes and black eyeliner. I've got several here micro bird in the landscape shots. There's a red-tailed hawk on top of this cool snag. Another tiny bird in big landscape. Sandhill crane out in the snowy fields of Norman County. Kind of like the simplicity of it. Talk about minimalism. Greater Prairie-Chicken framed by two trees in the distance. And this one is kind of crazy, but I really like it. Greater Prairie-Chicken in the rows of stubble from this cornfield. Kind of a graphic element. I did put a little bit of a white vignette on this. I should have moved up like 5 feet to really center the Prairie-Chicken. Northern Harrier cruising over the prairie. And how's this for crazy 3 tundra swans? Yeah, I just was frustrated with this photo and started moving sliders in Lightroom, and this is what I got. All right. Wouldn't be a Shooting with Sparky video without something crazy. But what a trip. The sharp-tailed grouse blind at Glacial Ridge was quite disappointing. Too much brush to really see the birds. Still an audio treat, just hearing the sounds. And I was here early, first few days of April. They'll be cranking up even more here coming up. But superstar bird of this trip, so many to choose from. Boy, those thousands of Greater White-fronted Geese, that was really a goal of mine. That near breeding plumage Lapland Longspurs, a couple were getting close. If I would have had a prime breeding male, that would have been the bird of the trip, but it's got to go to the short-eared owl. I don't see those that often. And pretty cool encounter with it flying towards me. Got some nice shots, distant, but nice, and some great video. So that is going to be my superstar bird of this trip. Superstar mammal, I really didn't see many mammals, some deer, some squirrels. So I'm going to have to give it to that river otter. Brief, but anytime you see a river otter is a good day. The river otter in the ditch. I don't know, do you call that a ditch otter? I don't know. All right, until next time, thanks for joining me on this trip. Where am I going next? But stay tuned, I have some ideas. All right, happy spring. The snow is going to be melted by the next episode, I'm sure. I'm sure.